Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'll be sharing 3 quick and simple themes for the month of November. I hope that you enjoy the video and let's jump right in. I'll be featuring these themes in my B5 Archer and Olive dotted journal. For the first theme, I'll be using only one pen, which is a black Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen. I'm starting off by hand lettering November towards the center of the page. For my first theme idea, I wanted to do a cute baking theme. I'm first doodling a simple rolling pin along with a couple of cookies. To add some variation, I decided to draw a bite mark in one of the cookies as if someone already started munching on it. I'm also doodling a muffin and adding little dots to indicate either chocolate chips, nuts, or berries. I also added a mixing spoon towards the bottom and added debris and dots around each doodle. I'm drawing all of the doodles in a diagonal orientation across the page just to give the cover a little more movement and visual interest. I'm just continuing with another muffin doodle, and I decided to include an apron to add a little more variety to the page. Feel free to doodle anything you'd like for this theme. I also thought that croissants, cupcakes, cake, and pie slices would have been really cute additions to this theme. Since Thanksgiving is this month, I've always associated November with baking. Although I'm quite terrible at baking, I love doodling baked goods and baking supplies and utensils this time of year. It also just has such a cozy feeling to it. What's your favorite thing to bake? I've been really into baking zucchini cookies and banana bread, so I'd love to know what your favorite thing to bake is. This part is completely optional, but I decided to add a thick border around the cover page just to tie everything together. And here is my first November theme idea. I really enjoyed coming up with this one. It's very simple and only took me about 5 minutes total to set up. So if you're needing something fast, this is definitely a great choice. Of course, if you have a little more time on your hands, you can add some color to it to spruce it up some more. Moving on to theme number 2. I'm taking my circular stencil and using a black fine liner. I'm tracing a large circle and making sure to leave a blank spot on one side, and then tracing a slightly smaller inside. For theme number 2, I wanted to do an overhead view of a coffee mug. For some decoration, I drew a couple of coffee beans and leaves sticking out from underneath the mug, and then I'm just adding a couple of small detail lines along the mug. Opposite the handle, I'm just writing November in a lowercase printed font along the curve of the mug. I added an extra leaf to help balance out the doodle now that the title has been added. Time to add the color. I'm using a couple of deep brown Crayola Colors of the World markers, as well as a couple of green and gray Crayola SuperTips for this piece. I'm starting off with one of the brown markers and outlining the leaf design in the coffee. Then I'm just taking that marker and filling in the areas outside of the leaves to create that coffee art design that you often see at coffee shops. Taking a light gray, I'm adding a subtle shadow to one side of the mug to create some depth. Now I'm taking a slightly warmer, deep brown and coloring in the coffee beans. And then I'm alternating between 2 shades of green to fill in the leaves. You can go back over certain areas to deepen the color and give the illusion of shadows. Now I'm just taking a white Uniball Signo gel pen and adding a few highlights throughout the piece. And that's it for theme number 2. This one took me about 10 minutes to complete, but it's still a simple and easy idea if you're wanting something quick and minimal, but with some added color. And finally, onto theme number 3. I'm starting off with a mechanical pencil and lightly sketching out a deer. I highly recommend using a reference photo for this one. This theme is definitely more sketch heavy, but you can make it as realistic or as cartoonish as you'd like. I opted for a slightly more realistic appearance. Once the sketch is done, I'm taking my watercolor paints along with a water brush, and I'm loosely painting in the deer. Although it may appear difficult and more complex, I wanted to share this idea because you can definitely keep the paint as light and simple or as dark and complex as you'd like. You can apply 1 or 2 light washes of paint if that's all that you have time for, and I think it'll still look great. Or if you have a little more time on your hands, you can get as detailed as you like and include lots of layers and different colors. The choice is completely up to you. In total, this one took me about 15 minutes to complete. What's nice about painting deer is that they naturally have white spots or light patches on them, which don't require you to cover up their entire bodies with paint, which also makes for a faster painting process. I thought that this would be an interesting thing to do for November if you love animals and wildlife. I added a bit of paint to the background to create a warm and autumn scene surrounding the deer. I also included a hillside behind the deer and painting the sun radiating from behind it. This part is completely optional, but if you prefer the entirely watercolor effect, you can paint in the eyes, nose, and brush letter November with paint. But I decided to take a very thin black fine liner and gently outline the deer and fill in the eyes and nose. This just adds a little bit more definition to the piece. I also loosely drew in some tall blades of grass as well as some weeds around the deer's feet for some added details. Finally, I'm just writing out November in a small capitalized printed font below the painting. And here is the third and final theme. I absolutely love how this one turned out, and I honestly kinda wish I would have thought of this one when brainstorming ideas for my actual November theme, but I'm glad I got to share it with you in this video. Here is a flip through of today's themes. Let me know which theme was your favorite and what theme you'll be doing for November. Thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.